On this week's edition of the Left Bench TV, the Maryland women's basketball team is headed to another NCAA tournament, while the men's team will be watching at home.
The top two teams in the nation faced off in College Park. We'll show you how it went down.
Plus, she's played nearly 100 games as a Terp, and she's only lost 3 times. We'll have the story.
It's March, and that means madness for not only basketball, but all of Maryland sports. Welcome to the Left Bench TV. I'm Max Marcilla.
And I'm Zach Solon. The women's basketball team is going dancing. Now, we just need to find out where it will be in the bracket. Our Morgan Weaver was at the Xfinity Center Monday night, where the Terps found out their tournament fate. Morgan?
Thanks, Zach. Tonight here at the Xfinity Center, fans, coaches, and players gathered to see where the women's basketball team would start their tournament journey. The players had to wait until the final region to see where their seed was, but I think it was worth the wait. For the first time since joining the conference, the women's basketball team did not win the Big Ten tournament. But Monday night, they knew they'd be heading to the big dance. The only question was where they'd end up. The team was one of the last called, but the moment was unforgettable.
I think for us, it's really never about the number. It's about playing, the level we know we can play at. And to be honest with you, I think sometimes going on the road is good for a young team like us.
The Terps earned the 5 seed in the Kansas City region. They'll take on 12th seeded Princeton.
We've played Princeton in the past. I know they've graduated a lot, but the head coach there does so many. She's phenomenal. Well-coached team. They'll play hard. It's going to be a tough first-round matchup for us.
For the Terps, March Madness is nothing new.
I think so many people around here is sort of an expectation, and that's a testament to the program that Coach B has built around here. But there still is that excitement of being able to participate in such a big part of not only the basketball community, but the culture of our society. So many people get excited about March Madness, and to be able to be a part of it is really exciting.
Excitement aside, Maryland is hoping to fare better in this year's tournament, where last year as a 3 seed, they were upset by 10th seed Oregon in the Sweet 16. And now joining me is Sean Mahoney, women's basketball reporter. So Sean, the Terps are more of an underdog this year compared to previous seasons. What do you think their mindset is going into this?
Well, like you said, in previous years, they have, ever since joining the Big Ten, they haven't had lower than a 3 seed, meaning they get to host their first 2 rounds, be comfortable in College Park. Now they have to go to Raleigh, face some tough opponents, be on the road, where they've struggled this year. But Brenda Fries and the rest of the team has preached, take it one game at a time, just trying to get through their region and not focus too far into the playoffs.
Speaking of other regional teams in their bracket, who do you think will give them challenges and who do you think they'll beat easily?
Well, looking in their first region, obviously their first matchup against Princeton, Ivy League champs, they did lose by 20 points to Rutgers, a team that Maryland has had their way with all season, so they should not have too hard of a time there. Then going into the 4-5 matchup against NC State, the home team, it'll be a little tough with them on the road, but NC State too, also lots of Rutgers early in the year. So in their region, they look to have some sort of advantage, but then going into the Sweet 16, they got to play Mississippi State, which is no easy task.
Well, the Terps will take on Princeton Friday at noon. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Morgan. The Terps will look to fare better than last year in the postseason when they start their March run on Friday.
Meanwhile, the men's basketball team's disappointing season has officially come to an end. Terps were left out of the NIT bracket, putting a period on what was one of the more frustrating Maryland basketball seasons in a long time. Injuries to Justin Jackson and Even Bender set the Terps back, and they never truly recovered. Maryland finished just 8-10 in the Big Ten and lost 8 of 10 games on the road. Maryland has now missed the postseason in 4 of the last 8 years. 3 of those have come under head coach Mark Turgeon.
The Maryland wrestling team finished its regular season with a disappointing 5-12 record, but 3 Terps are headed to the NCAA championships in Cleveland, which starts Thursday. Junior heavyweight Yosef Hamida and redshirt juniors Alfred Bannister and Ryan Deal will represent Kerry McCoy's squad over in the land. Be sure to follow the Left Bench for all the action.
The men's lacrosse team had a chance at a statement win, hosting top-ranked Albany on Saturday. And it got off to a good start. Just 31 seconds into the game, Jared Bernhardt puts the Terps on top with his team-best 16th goal. Didn't take long to get to number 17, Right before the half top shelf, Terps up 6-3. Second half extra man opportunity, and it's Logan Wisnowskis extending the lead to 4. Moments later, freshman sensation Bubba Fairman, wraparound beauty, Maryland up by 5 on the #1 Great Danes. But then the stunning finish, 5 unanswered Albany goals, and with the game tied at 10 in the final minutes, Connor Fields gave Albany its first lead. Heartbreaker in College Park. Albany escapes with an 11-10 victory.
There's a lot to build on. There's certainly a lot to be proud of. In a one-goal game, those could go either way. I think it makes it a little bit harder knowing that we were, up 8-3 and we didn't close it out.
I think we're just trying to figure out ourselves, trying to find our chemistry. Obviously, we have a lot of moving parts right now. We're trying to figure out our 2 units.
Terps will look to get back on track when they hit the road to face Villanova Saturday at 1 p.m.
The football players are enjoying their off-season, and for graduating seniors, they're preparing for life after college. Alex Flum is in the studio now with former Maryland tight end and defensive lineman Andrew Isaacs. Alex?
Thanks, Zach. So, Andrew, adjusting to your post-football career life, how's it been so far?
It's been stress-free. You don't have the daily grind of having to do things scheduled and have workouts every day. But at the same time, sometimes you find yourself a little bored.
Looking back on your career, how much are you going to miss, putting on that uniform for Maryland football?
Oh, a great deal. It was some of the best times of my life. Going out there and playing against some of the top-level competition, being intense practices. But more than anything, I'm going to miss being in the locker room with the guys, getting to hang out with them, laugh.
So it might be tough to narrow this down to one, but favorite moment as a Terp?
As a team, I would say we went up to Blacksburg and we beat Virginia Tech. That game was crazy. It was my freshman year, one of the first games that I actually received significant playing time, and we ended up beating those guys in overtime. The moment in the locker room was amazing. We actually got bowl eligible that night. Probably one of the better wins I've had.
So now, after your career, you're working on your master's. What are you studying, and then what are your career aspirations when you're done with education?
Well, currently right now, I'm a candidate in the business management program. When I finish, I plan on being an athletic director. My goal has always been to give back to the community and help kids who have been in similar situations like me. And I feel like as an athletic director, I'd have the best opportunity to do that.
That's a great dream to have.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people look at the sport of football wondering about the safety. Do you think there's a way that the game could be made a little bit more safe, and what steps are going to be taken?
Well, I believe that they're already taking the right steps in terms of making the game safer. They're trying to improve technique, trying to teach kids to keep their heads up, improving equipment. The helmet equipment is much better. It's completely different than back in the 1940s or whatever when guys were wearing leather helmets. The direction of it is getting safer, but it is going to be hard without narrowing the game to flag football. The guys are getting bigger, faster, stronger, so the collisions are going to be harder. Only thing you can do is preach safety and hope guys follow suit.
What about college sports as a whole? What big changes do you see coming to that realm?
Well, honestly, I think big changes in college sports. I think that athletes are eventually at some point are going to be allowed to profit off of their own name. I don't know the whole paying athletes thing. That's a whole other conversation for another day. But one thing I do believe is that athletes should be allowed to, if they are marketable athletes, they should be able to make a name on themselves. Any normal student, if they are good at a particular trade, if they can market it, they end up getting money for it. So why not allow an athlete to do the same?
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us today, Andrew.
No problem.
And guys at home, look forward to seeing Andrew as an athletic director for a major university one day, maybe even here.
Who knows? Who knows?
We'll see. Good luck to you, and back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Alex. Isaac's former team is back on the gridiron as spring practices are officially underway. Maryland welcomes a new offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, and he'll look to bond with the Terps and rejuvenate the injury-deprived offense.
Coaching isn't criticism, it's coaching, and I think they got to know I care about them before they understand that. So there's a learning curve on that.
Canada inherits star running backs Ty Johnson and Lorenzo Harrison to go along with a strong offensive line.
I love our depth on the offensive line. I think we're much closer to where you'd want that to be now, depth-wise at the line of scrimmage.
Now, to me, that's it, right? If you can block them, and your skill set says throw it, you can throw it. If you can block when your skill set says run it, you can run it. If you can't block them, it doesn't really matter what your skill set is.
One key piece is missing, wide receiver DJ Moore, who entered the NFL draft after his junior season.
I don't know, how do you replace a guy like that? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what I do know is the way we set up our practices are very competitive. Guys don't have the opportunity to go do that. So, you take a guy like Tavon Jacobs, who I think just got better and better every week as the season went on. That's obviously he wants to lay claim to being that guy, and he'll have every right to do that.
No Moore and a new OC for the third time in 4 years. Ty Johnson isn't worried about learning the new offense.
I've done it twice before, so another time's not going to really make a difference.
Back-to-back top 30 recruiting classes for DJ Durkin and the Terps. They will look to build on last year's season.
The Maryland softball team had a rough weekend, losing 4 of its 5 games during the Maryland Invitational Tournament. Junior Sydney Golden getting the start for Maryland in Game 1 against Utah. Top 2, Haley Hilburn gives the Utes an early lead by sending this one way out to deep center. The real story, though, was Katie Donovan for Utah. She struck out 10 Terps, got herself the win, and Utah gets that game 6-2. Into Game 2 now against Yale. Anna Kufta rips this single to tie Yale's early lead. Later, Maryland looking for some runs, and Shelby Yonkin, well, she finds herself in quite a pickle. Stuck between third and home, the Bulldogs defense trying to get her out, Cassidy Cross on second, to the Yale defense finally blunders, can't find anywhere to go, everyone's safe, second and third. Next batter, JoJo McRae hits a soft grounder. Bulldogs defense has nowhere to go. 2 come in to score, and Maryland is up 4-2. Ryan Denhart from there would shut it down for the Terps, a dominant day for her. Maryland wins 4-2 and goes home cheering.
Some different things on defense, and I thought they responded well to that, and we did enough offensively to win, which was good.
The Maryland baseball team's 5-game winning streak was snapped on Thursday, but a victory on Saturday and an unlikely hero on Sunday gave the Terps their 3rd weekend series win of the year. Back on Friday, things not looking great for the Terps. Taylor Bloom on the hill, and for the first time all year, he's beat bad. Back-to-back doubles in the 3rd puts Bryant up 4-0. Bloom 5 1/3 4 earned. Maryland flipped the script on Saturday. The Bats woke up and came through in a big way. A 5-run 3rd inning highlighted by 2-run singles by Nick Dunn and A.J. Lee. Bryant used the long ball to keep it close, but it wasn't enough. Terps take Game 2, 12-6. Rubber match. It is all about Hunter Parsons. How about this guy? Struggled all year last year, off to a rough start this year, and he throws a complete game. 3 runs, 2 earned, 4 strikeouts, helped out by this Marty Costas go-ahead single in the 8th. A much-needed hit for Costas, a much-needed win for the Terrapins. That was a big hit for Costas, and something tells me that we're going to be seeing that pretty shortly, because it's time for our top 5 plays of the week. Starting at softball, grounder to 3rd, throw to 1st. Taylor Wilson can't handle it, but look at this throw. Gets the runner at the plate. Let's take another look. Great recovery and perfect tag by Anna Kufta. Bang, bang play at the plate.
At number 4, we'll head to Capital One Field, where Bubba Fairman was showing off his 6-stick tricks, scoring this goal against Albany. Here's another look at the freshman.
Back to softball, more web gems. The liner, Sky Elazar. Wow, she skied for that one. Leaping, and she makes the play and saves the hit. Reaction time on point for this defense.
For number 2, we'll head to the baseball diamond. Marty Costas, there he is with that go-ahead game-winning single. He's pumped up. Terps go on to win the weekend series against Bryant.
How about 7 for number 1? Megan Whittle, not 1, not 2, well, you get it. 7 goals against UMBC. Whittle tied her career high.
And Megan Whittle is our Terp of the week. The senior Terp leads her team with 26 goals and definitely has her eyes on the prize as she looks to conclude her Maryland career with a 3rd national title. Our Alex Flum caught up with Whittle and the Terps this week.
Maryland senior attacker Megan Whittle. She's the girl who never loses. Well, almost never.
Only 3 losses in 8 years.
The very first lacrosse game we played, she just had an eye for the goal. She would just take the ball and you knew she was gonna score.
Here was this little one on the field at McDonough, through her high school career, and McDonough's such a talented team where she just, would go as fast as she can, as hard as she can, and it becomes someone that's really hard to defend.
From modest beginnings to collegiate success, she's won 2 national titles and scored 240 goals. She's 2nd on the all-time Maryland scoring list.
It's just cool kind of seeing the progression from like little tykes in recreational league, soccer, t-ball, basketball, lacrosse, and now playing at University of Maryland, winning national championships.
In a recent win over UMBC, Whittle tied her career high with 7 goals.
she's a scorer. She loves to score. We love to watch her score.
She goes so hard. She's so hard to defend for other teams.
But for Whittle, it's not just about her accomplishments. It's about the future.
Being a Division I athlete is hard, and being perfect in college is very hard. And so what we need to focus on as a team, and what I'm trying to send the message to the younger players and kind of the next generation coming up after I leave, is focus on seizing every day.
And she's learned that a loss every once in a while is okay.
Strive for perfection, you'll land among excellence, and I've learned that excellence is just okay. That'll be good.
With one more national title in her sights. For the Left Bench TV, I'm Alex Flum.
Well, Megan Whittle doesn't lose. Neither do the Harlem Globetrotters, and Harlem took College Park earlier on Monday when the Maryland women's basketball team found out their fate for the NCAA tournament.
With the tournament looming, stress can be high in Maryland's locker room. But before the team's selection party, a special guest brought some fun to the Xfinity Center. Harlem Globetrotter Zeus McClurkin paid a visit to the Terps, hanging out with Shanice Lewis, Aisha Small, Stephanie Jones, and head coach Brenda Fries.
Yeah, we loved them. I mean, I remember going to a show when I was a kid, so pretty cool to be able to see even here in college that once the music came on, they knew who they were and were ready to have some fun.
Zeus tried teaching the girls some Globetrotter tricks, and they were able to put their own spin on the moves.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of fun seeing people who actually have basketball skills get into the circle, I showed them some basic skills, and then they went and took it and made it their own. It was pretty cool to see.
But the Globetrotter wasn't shy to show off his own skills, impressing the Terps. Zeus even helped Aisha Small spin the ball on her finger, something she's always wanted to do. Next, the girls put up some shots from mid-court, and Small was able to cash hers in. Zeus and the Terps even came together for a trick of their own, the famous Globetrotter weave. We'll see if this stress relief pays off for the Terps come tournament time. For the Left Bench TV, I'm Brendan Hartlove.
I just have the utmost respect for the Globetrotters. It was cool of them to come to the Xfinity Center, but I think everything they do on the hardwood is just incredible.
That's great. I mean, I wouldn't want to be a member of the Washington Generals, but that's probably where I'll end up.
I mean, you're probably right. General's not the way to go. That'll do it for this edition of the Left Bench TV. Make sure to keep up with all of our Terps and Globetrotters coverage over on our social media accounts at The Left Bench on Twitter and The Left Bench on Facebook.
And don't forget to check out our website, theleftbench.com, for more coverage of Maryland athletics. For Max Marcilla and all of our Left Bench TV crew here in College Park, I'm Zach Solon. Thanks for watching.